2,000 behind Cuomo in Staten Island. Wait, are white men? Dude, white men are kind of goated. What the fuck? Dude, white men rise up. Oh my Lord. That's like, what does he have? Like a cop constituency? What the fuck is this? White men rise up? What? Dude, white guys are back? What's happening? That's crazy. That is crazy. White men are going to save us. Okay, let's chill on the white man.
Said in the last debate,
listen, if Zoran wins with the white man vote, trust me, I'm never stopping. Okay, it's white boy summer, it's jihad summer, but it's white male jihad summer. Okay,
pumped a ton of money in Cuomo's direction in a short amount of time. Could we see something like that happen to Mayor Adams potentially in the general?
Oh, absolutely. And we can think about the role of President Trump in this case, who may well endorse and not endorse the Republican Curtis Sliwa, who doesn't stand much of a chance in this case unless something tectonic changes in the election. We know that there's already been a relationship largely around immigration enforcement. So that's a dynamic to look at, too. That could bring both benefits and difficulties in electoral terms because Donald Trump is not popular in this city. So that remains very much to be seen as we roll into the general election phase after tonight.
Yeah, very interesting, very exciting. David Birdsell, we have to leave the conversation there, but
the entire Zoran voting blog is basically white boys who say inshallah. Okay. White boys who say inshallah are up big this year. Okay. This is what it is. This is the method. I didn't even realize.
Standing by. Kelly.
That's right. We're still waiting on the candidate to get here. The speaker, she should be here shortly. But we are joined by our top and most visible supporter, the Attorney General, Letitia James.
I just voted. Okay. Slasher, our anti-Semitism correspondent. He's my Jacob Kornbluth. Slasher, who is my very own Jacob Kornbluth style Forward magazine correspondent, reporting live from New York City. Which is now under the guidance of the Gestapo. He says, just voted for my boy Zoran before polls close. A dozen Schomburg cars have immediately surrounded my apartment on the Upper West Side. I'm scared for white boy summer.
Still young, but he is winning. And again, it really represents the excitement that I saw on the streets all throughout the city of New York.
Wait, what?
And I
Andrew
haven't
Cuomo
seen
got
this
0 votes in
since
this dump?
Barack
That doesn't make any
Obama ran
sense.
for president of these United States. When the community and the streets were shut down all over the city with young people shouting for change. And that's what they want. Listen, just like those young people, and I'm not, obviously I'm a mature woman. I do not, and I reject fear. And there was a lot of fear politics that were injected into this race, and it's unfortunate. And what's so great about this is that New Yorkers rejected fear, and that we will not be divided. And I can assure everyone who is concerned about his platform, that I'm going to do my very best to bring everyone together so that we all can be respected.
Call it early, total
regardless
victory.
of your race, your ethnicity,
That's
or your
enough.
religion.
I've seen enough. No more votes should be collected, I think. Stop counting. We got enough votes. We got enough votes. Stop the count. It's fine. There's not enough. Guys, I'm going to make the boss call right now. We should just stop counting. Okay, everybody, how about we just stop counting right now? What do you guys think? Come on. It sounds like a good idea. Come on. This is a good amount of vote. Dude, come on. This is a good amount of people that have voted. Why do you need 1 million plus people voting? That's too many votes. Okay? I think we should just stop it right here. How about let's let bygones be bygones. It doesn't matter if other people don't get to have their vote counted. We can, because this seems like the best possible outcome. I think everyone will be comfortable. That's what I'm thinking. What are you guys thinking? Seems good, right? You should look at this if you want hopium overload. Mamdani in Manhattan at 39% with 51% scanners reported. Zoran lead growing with E-Day. The 18% Lander in RCV is a nightmare for Cuomo. Lander at 18%. Holy fuck. Cuomo at Cuomo at 34% at 65,392 votes. Okay, it's just fine though, guys. This is a good amount. This is a healthy amount of voting. This is a healthy amount of voting that has taken place. I think we need to call it here. We need to let bygones be bygones. Like, I'm doing a Dave Wasserman, but this time I'm saying, like, you know, stop counting. Stop counting. This is good. This is a good amount of counting. Another dump has hit the Twin Towers.
And why she is a primary candidate tonight. We'll hear from
I
her
don't
a little
see
bit
it.
later. Back to you, Errol.
Okay, thanks very much, Kelly. And we've been looking at the numbers, Courtney Gross, I mean, we're over the 50% number, meaning more than half of the vote for mayor is in at this point. What patterns are you seeing?
So we're going borough by borough.
Okay,
It just
well,
updated
we
on
don't
my
know that
screen
yet.
here. But, you know,
I'll only figure out if Mamdani actually has a real shot at winning if these guys start panicking. Okay? That's the best possible way to fucking figure out if Zohran Mamdani has a good shot at winning here. Once they start hitting the, oh my God, they're going to assassinate every single one of us, like Pol Pot style, for wearing glasses and being counter-revolutionary, only then will I know Zohran Mamdani is actually
is quite
he's
interesting
got
to me,
this in the
especially
bag.
when you go and you dig into some of the more the demographic data in some of these districts. I'm thinking about Harlem. That is a community.
Well, they
was
mentioned
in
Sharia
Harlem
law.
with Andrew Cuomo a few weeks
9/11.
ago, covering an endorsement by Governor David Patterson and the former assemblyman for that district, Keith Wright. And I'm looking at the assembly district for 71. And Zohran Mamdani has double the number of votes of Andrew Cuomo in that district. That to me shows that even though the polling has shown that perhaps Zohran Mamdani was not doing well with black voters and 50% of black voters were in Andrew Cuomo's camp, that maybe there was a demographic shift and there ended up being more black voters in Mamdani's camp. Of course, preliminary numbers, 50% still need to come in. Cuomo was doing very well on Staten Island, like we heard the Attorney General say, who's digging clearly into these numbers as we do as well. And he's doing well in the Bronx, which we've seen from the polling that is turning out to be the case.
Well, you know, as they say, it gets late early around here. The percentage of scanners at this point is over 2/3. If this is a basketball game, we'd be in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter. There's going to be a shrinking amount of time and a shrinking number of votes. And as you know, we knew that, and as we've told our audience, whoever gets to 50% first is the winner. So this lead that we've been looking at since the first numbers came in shortly after 9 shows Zohran Mamdani about 7 points away from 50% and victory. Andrew Cuomo, again, we're expecting numbers to come in for him.
You can say
but
6. It's 43.8. Come on. Don't be fucking stingy.
going
It's 6
2 to
points.
1 for Mamdani. That is striking, and that is telling, and that could tell the story.
Yeah, originally when we first got that
Mamdani
first
up
tranche of
21 in
voters
Brooklyn.
coming, or early votes
62%
coming in, there was a
scanners
10-point
reported,
lead.
hitting
Mamdani had 9 or 10
without
points, and
ranked
now
choice
that's
voting.
shrunk to
Zohran winning
about 8
precincts in
points.
Bensonhurst and
But
Dyker Heights.
He's at 43.8% of the vote right now, and like
That's
you
crazy.
said, it just takes 50%
Oh my God,
plus
the
one.
podcast
You know,
vote,
we have
dude. Oh my
about
God, I am
40%,
so
30.
Dude, I joked. I said the podcaster vote was insignificant. It was inconsequential. I was wrong, okay? It's got all the motion, okay? Nick Mullen left, rise up. It's actually real. It's the podcast is real. All the boys, they got together, the Chapos, the Truanons, the Come Towns of the world. This community as well, I think, is like in the podcast circuit as well. I did not realize that Brooklyn was the crown jewel of New York. I had no idea, okay? I did not know it was like that.
Hey there, Errol, and I'm with State Senator Gustavo Rivera from the Bronx, who is a Mamdani supporter. He also serves with him in the state legislature.
I do not
although
see a
in
scenario
the
where Zohran
opposite
Mamdani will
chamber.
not be the Democratic
in
nominee
the
come
upper house,
ranked choice
correct.
voting final
now,
round.
you've been out
Stop.
with Mamdani on the campaign
Stop.
trail, and now we're seeing just in the early reporting that Mamdani looks like he's ahead of Andrew Cuomo. What do you think made a difference within the final days of this campaign?
The thing that made the difference in the final days of the campaign is the same thing that made the difference from the beginning of the campaign. This has been an incredibly well-run campaign. The message discipline has been, I mean, just second to none because it has been a consistent thing. How do we connect with people's lives? How do we change people's lives? How do we make our city more affordable? That is a message that cuts across the board. And these are early numbers, but they're positive. And what
Bro, I have not let myself, I have not let myself believe because I've been let down so much. Okay, I have been let down so much, as many of you have as well. I mean, but it seems like I'm seeing a lot of movement here in a very interesting direction, and it's causing me to, dare I say, feel just a crumb, just a little bit of hope. I don't know. I don't want to say anything too crazy, okay? But it does look kind of good, I think.
I think that the message has a lot to do with the message.
Very dangerous feeling. Very dangerous feeling.
That a lot of the reasons why the governor started talking about affordability is because Zoran was talking about affordability. I mean, I think if you would have asked
Possible
me
no
at
one
this
gets
time
50%?
last year
No.
what this campaign was going to be about, the mayoral
The
campaign,
whole point of
everybody would have probably said it's going
the
to be
whole
about
point
public
of
safety.
ranked choice
But the
voting.
reality is that the narrative changed, but it only changed because I believe that the Zoran campaign actually connected with what is really the worry of people's everyday lives. So certainly public safety is a concern, but affordability is a longer-term concern that cuts across all boroughs, all
Forecaster
demographics.
Harry
And I think
Enton
that the numbers are
says,
showing us that.
"Holy Toledo!" I'll read it in his voice. Regarding New York City mayor, I think it's notable how different Emerson is from the other nonpartisan polls out there, and how much weight the conventional wisdom is giving Emerson, i.e., a lot. Now, to be fair, Maris and Manhattan out of the field earlier, still quite the split. A lot of Holy Toledo! A lot of the folks were paying close attention to this race, and I haven't been really. We were very much thinking Mamdani was being underplayed by polling. See early voting pre-Emerson. But if Emerson is right, you can't say they heard it. I'd also point out that primary polling is really, really hard. The average presidential primary poll is off by like 9 points. Throw a municipal election and ranked choice voting. My goodness, it's tough. So kudos to the people putting their necks on the line. Are they panicking? Is it panic mode? Is it panic hands? Is it panic hand time? Momdaniacs, rise up. Okay, this feed has got nothing. This feed's got nothing. What?
To the Trump administration and the hatred and the division that it spews. We are showing people that hope.
The mood is shifted inside of Andrew Cuomo's camp as early ballots continue to come in for socialist hopefuls around Mamdani. Sources tell the Post they are unsure Cuomo can make the gap with about a quarter of the vote left uncounted.
New York City that a better day is possible. And today is the first of many of them.
This is old. It's from 638. What are you talking
Mamdani
about?
is endorsed by Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the Working Families Party. He is expected to show up here a little bit later in the night. It's going to be probably a late night here, but we will bring that to you as soon as he arrives. We're live for now in Long Island City, Queens.
White guys, rise up, dude.
All right, Allie, thank you.
Look
and
at
one
this.
of the things about ranked choice voting, some of the candidates have teamed up to sort of cross
Staten
endorse
Island?
each other. That is the case at our next headquarters. Let's go out.
Staten Island? What is happening? 38% for Zoran Mamdani at Staten Island? He's trailing behind by fucking 2,000 points in Staten Island? What is going on? I don't understand. What is this? What does this mean? Is Staten Island Hamas? I thought like Brooklyn is definitely Hamas. You know what I mean? Staten Island, maybe like, Islamic Jihad, Palestinian Islamic Jihad Island, maybe. It's weird. It's weird how they're not Democrats, but dude, they're voting for a fucking brown Muslim socialist. He is the least likely candidate to come out of, like, I didn't think that would happen.
Let's check in now with our Dan Rivoli. He's standing by at the campaign party in Park Slope for Brad Lander. Lander, of course, cross-endorsed with Mamdani late in the campaign, so in some ways this is good news for them as well. Good evening, Dan.
Hey, good evening, Errol. The mood here is big, it's ebullient, and it's not because of the open bar. When I spoke to a Lander campaign official before the polls closed, they said they had 2 goals in this race. Win the primary.
Who literally was getting funding from the royal family. They did not know what he was up to. I want you to know I'm former CIA, and I'm here to tell you that Osama bin Laden was up to no good, and no one in the fucking Saudi family knew what he was up to. Make no mistake. They did not know, okay? I am no longer in the CIA, and I'm telling you with all honesty.
Create 2 training camps in southern Afghanistan, one in Kandahar province and one in Helmand province. By 2001, Al-Qaeda had carried out several large-scale attacks. And we said, well, we've got to get on the stick, and we have to find this guy, and we have to stop him. So the FBI began investigating so that he could be charged with a crime. The CIA began looking for him. We knew that he was somewhere in Afghanistan, probably in Kandahar, but it was impossible to really find him. And then on July the 6th, 2001, I was at CIA headquarters, and I was entertaining a delegation from a Middle Eastern intelligence service. We did this literally every single day. I had arranged a briefing on Al.
Okay, calm down. All right, it's hard. I try to do my best. Yeah. How good of a source is Wikipedia on things like this? I mean, shit like this is only going to be in magazines like Counterpunch. The very fact that this has made its way to Wikipedia is unique in and of itself. I believe Counterpunch magazine actually wrote extensively on this. What is this? It seems that our new rulers here in the liberal West have homed in on a new way of turning a person into a non-person. Here's a man, Hussein Doğru, a German journalist of Turkish origins, but not a dual citizen, whom the EU authorities have found a novel, immensely cruel way of punishing for his coverage and his views on Palestine. German authorities learned a lesson from my case, not wishing to be answerable in a court for any ban on pro-Palestinian voices similar to court case I'm dragging them through currently. They found another way, a direct sanction by the EU utilizing some hitherto unused directive, one introduced at the beginning of the Ukraine war, that allows Brussels to sanction any citizen of the EU it deems to be working for Russian interests. Clinging to the argument that Hussein's website podcast used to be shown also on Ruptly, among many other platforms, they're using this directive aimed at an anti-Russian asset to destroy a journalist dared to oppose the Palestinian genocide. In practice, this means that Hussein's bank account is frozen, that if you or I were to give him cash to buy groceries or make rent, we would be considered his accomplices and subject to similar sanctions. It also means that if he were a civil servant, he would be fired. If he were a student, he would be expelled from his university. If he received a pension, it would be suspended. If he received any social benefit, it would be frozen. It also, astonishingly, means he cannot leave Germany. Last but definitely not least, it means that Hussein cannot sue his government for turning him into a non-person, but only challenge the European Commission in Brussels, where he's not even allowed to go. Yeah, this is fucked up. This is the guy who is in charge of Red, right? I think that's what it was, right? The German dude of Turkish origin. Isn't that it? If it makes me safer, I'm okay with it. Dog, you don't even live in Germany or the European Union. You live in America. Like, what do you mean if it makes me safer? Yeah, this guy's the editor of Red. You've probably seen them on Red Media. This thing. How does this not terrify people, dude? That's crazy. Or not Red Media. Wait, did they delete the account entirely? Isn't it Red? Was it not Red? Red Letter Media? No.
Would have, a significant lead, but with less than 50%, he couldn't announce he was the victor. This would have to wait until next Tuesday in ranked choice voting. And in theory, yeah, like you said, if all of Ismail Malave's votes and all of Kevin Parker's votes went to Brannon, which is unlikely, but it is, you know, a mathematically possible possibility. Then in that case, he could actually surpass Mark Levine. Of course, that's the way ranked choice works.
I was on the wrong tab the whole time. My bad.
In practice, it doesn't always mean you can make
Calm
up
down,
that
everybody.
much ground. We saw it almost happen in the mayor's race 4 years ago with Eric Adams, but that may have
This
been
half of Brooklyn early vote by early vote in
With
mail.
this kind of lead, it's very
Mamdani
hard
is
for the second or third
60%,
place
bro. He
finisher
fucking
to make up
cooked
that
on
ground.
Brooklyn.
Got it. And while you're there, Bobby, could we look at some of the numbers for the borough?
He really
races
locked
that we
down the
just called?
podcast constituency,
We
dude.
gave
It's
Sort of
crazy.
the top line number about who won, but I'm very curious as to what the percentages look like.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at Vanessa Gibson. So I got to say, this race I thought was going to be a lot closer because Rafael Salamanca, you know, relatively well-known city councilman from the South Bronx. He's being term limited out of office. So, you know, gunning for Vanessa Gibson, who is a relatively popular borough president. She's been a lawmaker in the Bronx for a long time. It's not that often that you see a sitting elected official like this, who's pretty well liked, actually being primaried by another prominent elected official. But Rafael Salamanca got a lot of money in this race. He had some endorsements, but in the end, Vanessa Gibson seems to be running away with this thing, not particularly close. And then in the other one, we were looking.
Oh shit. I was muted this whole time. Oh my God. That's crazy. Mamdani's early votage is powered by East Corridor in Western Queens and Brooklyn, but he's also scoring key wins in Hispanic pockets like Washington Heights and Corona and Asian enclaves such as Bay Ridge and Bensonhurst. Okay, everybody, I know I was fucking muted for in front of 60,000 people. Shut
this
up.
has been overshadowed by the mayor's race, of course. The controller's position, however, very important, especially in
Brad Lander clearly emerging as the first choice for a lot of progressive but not lefty college ed liberals. How well these voters adhere to the cross endorsement could make or break Mamdani. It won't be 100% of them. Yeah, it definitely won't be. If we see a lot of motherfuckers go from Brad Lander to Cuomo, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to fucking lose it. Imagine they're just like, we were really worried about the anti-Semitism, as in translation, Islamophobia, Islamophobic cross voters that were like, we like Lander, but if it's not him, you know, we'll go with Cuomo. My mom voted Lander 1 and Cuomo 4. Wait, what? Cuomo 4? Why did your mom rank Cuomo? The one thing that everybody was saying was like, don't rank Cuomo. That was the major thing, man. What happened? Is that Gretchen Whitmer?
And through this campaign, what I've loved is watching the young people throughout the city campaigning for different candidates, not just for mayor, but for city council and controller and borough president, the young people who worked for us banging doors and campaigning every day. They represent the future of this city. And you know what they're saying? They want change. And they're not willing to wait, and neither.
Scott Stringer is a strong showing. Strong showing by Scott. I don't really care to hear what he had to say. I'm going to be honest. No disrespect.
But that's just me. Do you think that was an effective ad?
When I saw it, I wondered how the volunteers stood behind him when he was eating all the pens and everything like that. What would happen there? That was my thought. Volunteers on that thing. It connected to people. I think the challenge is any of these ads are about what? Name ID or an issue. And I think this one was good for name ID and getting the earned media.
JC?
But
I think this was a great ad.
But it was a distraction.
No, I think it was a great ad because he's saying, hey, listen, even
More
with
dumps.
all the drama,
More
I can
dumps.
still do the work.
More dumps.
So that was a great ad. I'm with you,
50K
Marsha.
voter,
Good ad was,
50K voter total numbers.
When he walks in through the restaurant, did you hear this guy was going to freeze the rent? And it became almost as if synonymous. When you see Mamdani, you think freeze the rent.
What is this? I would say this is just really Lander consolidating a lot of the other candidates' support, and I think his cross endorsement is the whole ball game. We'll see what the exhaustion rate is.
A vote for Mamdani is a vote to defund the police. That's why the New York Times calls Mamdani uniquely unsuited. He shows little concern about the disorder.
That was effective and helped Andrew Cuomo, or it was being able to be used by Mamdani to say it was Islamophobia.
Mamdani using stuff and defending it as saying something like that just shows it's working. If you don't respond, if you respond to an ad, it means it's working, it's penetrating. The other question would be, how much money do they put behind it and to who? One of the problems, I think, if you look back at the Cuomo race, they did not go after their opponent early enough, and they went maybe too little, too late. And this ad could have been out a week earlier.
I didn't see anything offensive in that.
They should have started fucking calling him a terrorist before.
Really well done. I got
Great
to see
assessment,
some of the
sir.
things that
Thank
he
you.
had said. They actually labeled the times he said defund the police. And it was also very interesting to see the empty elevator. You know, he's had a staff that you could fit in a New York City elevator. So it's a very good attack ad to define your opponent. I saw nothing wrong with that.
But do you think that it was effective in making Andrew Cuomo's case that actually he has more experience?
Of course. It made the case because, hey, listen, this man has a staff that you could fit in an elevator, and look at some of the things he said about defunding the police.
And those are things you've been talking about. The question becomes, that message works, but was there enough money behind it? That's always the question in any of these ads. Do they do them digitally? Who do they go after? And when you buy cable TV nowadays, you need to go on there for 2 weeks
for
it to penetrate the audience. If you're on broadcast, you can do it in a
Isn't this really good? Isn't this actually good as fuck for Mamdani from Staten Island? That's crazy. He's like the return for cops for Bernie.
Getting the Democratic nomination, and now with the polls as they're counting the votes, they are really excited to see Mamdani.
If cops can fucking ride the libertarian logo, if cops can be libertarian, they can be socialist too. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it literally doesn't make any sense. Adam Carlson calls it. Did I just get locked out of Twitter? What the fuck was this? Stick a fork in it. Zohran Mamdani will win the first round of the Democratic primary for New York City mayor. Zero path forward for Cuomo to make up that ground with RCV. A Muslim immigrant Democratic Socialist, the front runner. Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah, I didn't get logged out. It was the MX1 thing that was in the link that chatter sent. Check out the New York Times photo of the Cuomo watch party. Oh, brother.
And JC Polanco. But
This lady, okay, I want to hear from her because she's always throwing daggers. This motherfucker too. This potato man right here. Let's see how they're feeling.
Effect on this race, do you think?
It took the press for the day, but beyond that, it was a campaign stunt.
It was a campaign stunt, no doubt. But let me tell you, Brad Lander went from who knows Brad Lander to being on national television last night. The whole world now knows who Brad Lander is. He's been on every national TV show ever. And considering that he cross-endorsed Assemblyman Mamdani, it bode well for the Assemblyman, him having to get arrested. I'll tell you this,
81%
next
of votes
idea, maybe just get arrested. You may get some points.
So let's talk about the endorsements. So Mamdani got endorsed by AOC and Bernie Sanders. Did that help or hurt?
It definitely helped, no question about it. I think the mistake Mamdani made on that was not rolling it out as one of her.
Oh, this was previously recorded. Fuck. I want a real-time, immediate feedback from those guys. They were chirping earlier about how awesome the Islamophobic anti-Mamdani ads were. I want to know. I want to know what's up.
He's been beside me every step of my career. He believed in me before I was even elected and helped get me to where I am today. And so I'm excited. I'm disappointed he wasn't #1 tonight, but I'm excited to see what he wants to do next. And whatever that is,